today. Guess I'm going to need this microphone. Just trying to keep it real, guys. Oh, and there's Kelly. And there's a hair on my microphone. Hold on just a second. Oh, there we go. Welcome, welcome. Hello.
Hi. I don't
How's
see
it?
you. Oh, there you are.
Okay, good. I was like,
Hello. Oh, this
don't
angle
see
is
me.
super. I don't see you now again. It's gone.
What? I'm
No.
here. I didn't
It's
go anywhere.
okay. It's probably just my internet spinning. It's the spinning wheel of death.
I understand. How's the audio situation happening over
Oh,
here?
it's good. How's mine?
It's good. I can't even tell that you dumped some coffee on your mic.
Well, I didn't do it on the mic. I did it at the base. I should have been more specific.
Oh, well, that's very good. Sorry, did I out you? I'm
No,
so
you didn't.
clumsy.
It's so weird that I can't see your face. It's hard to do a live without your face. Um,
Well,
hold on. Let me see if I can do something
hopefully,
on my computer.
can you guys see my face, or is it Kelly's internet? What's happening? Welcome back to Purely OCD.
Welcome to being off the rails, which, by the
Off.
way,
Oh my God. Oh, yep.
yes, we do
Stay
have,
on the rails. We have pins.
we in fact do have pins.
And we actually didn't even make them.
We did not. Someone
Our
made it
friend,
for us.
yeah, made it. I'm putting it on. So just to share with y'all, we are here to do a little bit of a Q&A today because we didn't know we were not like doing a specific topic like we sometimes do. So we want to know what your questions are.
Can't see you.
Oh no, I can't. Still?
No. I'm sorry. I'm going to hang up and then can I come back?
Yeah,
Okay. I'll be right
I'll
back.
be here. Goodbye. All right, so I'm going to be here for a minute while Kelly tries to figure out the video situation because it's distracting to her that she can't see me, which I get. So if anyone has any questions, you can go ahead and throw them in the question mark box, which I see that there's already been one question thrown in there. Let me see if I can accept Kelly. Oh,
Oh,
can
I
you
can
see?
see you. It's so much better.
Oh my God, that is so much better. I'm really glad about it. So we have a question. Oh, does OCD ever go away? So hi, Chrissy. If you have any questions, can you throw them in the yield question mark box so that we can figure it out? Because
Right here.
we
Did I
there.
get it?
I don't know.
In the groinal area.
It's in the groinal area.
Sorry, I'm
So
really weird angle. So if you see my boogers, just let me know because
I
I
know I
feel like
love your
you're like,
boogers.
mm. And on top of that, I don't have my stand, so my phone keeps tipping. Sorry. Anyways, go ahead.
Good, we're doing it live.
We are.
So, how do you best control OCD? Is the first question. What do you think?
Well, control is an interesting choice of words
Mm-hmm.
because OCD is a lot about control, right? We can't control it, but we can manage it. And really the first line intervention in managing OCD is going to be exposure and response prevention,
Mm-hmm.
and usually with a little bit of medication, but
Sorry.
not always.
Right.
But not
No,
always.
not always. That's
What
true.
was that? What was
I
that? A
was gonna try
sexual
and do
move?
like that's it. No, it's like E. I don't know how to make an R with my
Okay.
fingers. R P.
P. Yeah, you got it, girl. You
Thank
got
you.
it. Nailed
Yeah.
it.
So ERP. Yep. Managing is good.
Do you have anything you'd like to add to that?
No, I think I agree with you that it's interesting that word control because I think actually control is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So ERP is all about learning how to be in the presence of anxiety and uncertainty without trying to control it, right? Like with just letting it sort of all be there and maybe even feel really overwhelming. And maybe definitely feel really overwhelming most of the time.
Most of the
And
time. Not always.
no, not always. So I think I think the answer is in a strange turn that you learn how to not control your OCD, that you learn to just roll with the punches when it arrives so that you can live a big, beautiful, full life.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Also, I like mindfulness and acceptance and commitment therapy, and I know Kelly does too.
I do. Yeah, I didn't throw it in there because I don't know why, because it's Friday and I'm getting real weird already.
I love it, man. You know I love the weird. Okay. Um, let's see. Does OCD ever go away?
Um,
Do you want to feel that? I feel, yeah.
no, I mean, so I think everyone's recovery is going to look a lot different, right? Why don't you do it, actually?
Okay. So I agree, though. You're right. Everyone's recovery is going to look a lot different. I'm in the camp that, and I was actually just thinking about this morning in a conversation with another colleague of ours, that so in the DSM, it says that of people with OCD, 76% will have a co-occurring anxiety disorder in their lifetime. And by anxiety disorder, what the DSM is talking about is panic disorder or social anxiety or phobias, right?
Phobias.
Generalized anxiety, all of these other things. And I think that it really speaks to the fact that the way the obsessive mind works is very specific. Do I think that that tendency for the mind to work in a certain way ever leaves us? No, I do not.
Mm-mm.
I believe that I and the people that I work with, by and large, have a type of way of seeing the world and have this amazing ability to jump right into problem solving, even when there's not a problem that can be solved. And
Right. It's the feeling it's going after. It's like, oh, this doesn't feel good.
yeah,
How
no,
do
got to get
we,
rid of this.
ooh, this is not
Annihilate.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
foreign contaminants.
Error, error. But I think that the thing is that with that tendency comes a lot of creativity, a lot of intelligence, right? That there are all of these other qualities that tend to coexist in individuals who happen to have OCD, because it's one expression of having a mind that sort of works to annihilate issues and can think of all of these creative things. Um, and also, happens to have a lot of good things too. So that's convoluted, but
Yeah,
there you
I
go.
know I'm with you 100%. I think there's definitely times where OCD can almost go into more of remission stages. There's certainly times in my life where it's peaked a lot more, and even times in the week where it's peaking more. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, no, that's such a good point. And even throughout the day, right?
It's just
Sometimes
like
it's like,
seasons. Yeah, oh yeah,
yeah,
well, yeah, that, of course.
naturally.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And there are periods of time where the anxiety doesn't feel nearly as intense and it's less frequent. So it really depends on what you mean when you ask, does OCD ever go away? Because you're always going to feel anxious to some degree if you're alive.
And whether
But
you're doing compulsions is another thing.
exactly, which is really the only important part of the puzzle,
Yes.
ultimately.
Even though it feels like it's not.
That's true. It feels as
It
though
feels.
the compulsions are the solution. That is
Yeah.
not true. Inaccurate. Okay, I'm picking at random.
Do it.
Your turn to field, friend.
So, can OCD manifest mentally more through thoughts than physical compulsions? I don't, and then it cuts off.
I don't have the best wording. Sorry.
No,
I
I think
actually
that's
well
great
worded.
wording.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
Well, well said.
actually,
Um,
yes. A lot of it is going to be mental rumination and mental compulsions.
mhm.
So, people traditionally think, when they think of OCD, they think of checking and counting and washing. And in reality, the people that Lauren and I treat and see, that's kind of few and far between. I mean, there's plenty going on, but far more we see mental rumination, memory hoarding, comparing, a thought from last week to this week if it still bothers you, emotionally checking, checking the temperature of the room emotionally. There's so much going on, and it's very hard to catch. That's where mindfulness comes in,
Hmm.
guys, where we were
Hmm.
talking in the beginning, is that
Yeah.
you have to have awareness into the thought patterns. Otherwise, your ability to do an intervention on it is going to be very difficult.
Yes. Because disengaging from thinking is impossible if you don't see that you're thinking.
Yeah, exactly.
No, well said, friend. And for what
Cool.
it's worth, that's also my personal favorite and specialty when it comes to compulsions are the mental ones.
Oh
Um,
boy, me too.
my brain just loves doing those mental
Yeah,
compulsions, except for
just
it, you know,
yeah.
yeah, good times,
Hey, but
except
at
for
least
not.
we're at the point where we know when it's mostly happening, right? That's the other side of things, is that there's been times in my life where it's like, I don't know it's even OCD. Like, I don't
Mhm.
even, I'm totally just becoming it, you know? So that's why it is important to practice mindfulness.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And that's I love what you're talking about there because it's the sort of meta OCD. It's like, oh my gosh, what if this isn't even OCD, or what if this is OCD and I'm missing it, right? Like there's just
Yeah,
bastards. All right.
a-holes.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So just a reminder, we can't give clinical advice on here.
Yeah, this is not a
So
replacement for therapy.
tis not. OCD, health anxiety, and the body pains from 30 years plus of anxiety and OCD occupy my mind 24/7. I'm exhausted. Do I need meds? Struggling to get a therapist here in the UK. Again, we especially can't speak to whether or not anyone needs meds, including the people that we work with. OCD Action in the UK, though, is a great
It
resource.
is.
So
I love them.
I know they're amazing.
They are.
And I think, isn't the conference coming up
I think
for
so. Um,
UK OCD?
they're all like we're effed basically because we have conferences back to back, you and I, for a while.
Yeah,
So
for a
it
bit.
could be
Yeah,
any of those days. Yeah, it's
yeah.
somewhere in
Although,
July.
sadly, I'm not part of that one because,
Well, I'm not either, but
well,
to
yeah,
track all of them is hard. It's
it
look it
is.
up on their website or their
OCD
Instagram, girl.
Action. Yep. And they have an Instagram. Make it happen. They're fantastic. But I'm sorry that you're struggling and it can
Yeah.
be really exhausting. I think you put it well. Exhausted. I've been there. I'm sorry that you're there. There is help and there's a lot of hope to be had. So reach out to them and they will, I imagine, be able to support. In terms of any questions that are being posed now, just a reminder that if you have a question, throw it into the question mark box so that we can kind of organize them. Um,
Do you want me to start reading off some of the ones, or did they already submit?
no, I'm just trying to find one that I'm just going to go at random and we can
Yeah.
we can filter them together.
Okay.
Why does OCD attack everything you loved? Can you touch on POCD and how to deal with uncertainty?
So I would say definitely reference back to our previous live on pedophilia OCD.
Hmm.
That might be, you might find that useful. And why does OCD attack everything you love? Because it knows that you care about it, so it knows you'll pay attention. I guess
Well,
that's my answer.
right, because the other things won't stick because you don't care about. Or like if you get anxious about something you don't care about, then it's just gonna like sort of slip off like Teflon, right?
Yeah, Teflon brain. Um,
Teflon brain.
that was a little DBT action there, girlfriend.
Wait, was it
They use that a lot. Yeah, yeah,
Teflon?
yeah. Teflon mind. But I'm sure it's just a psychology word in general too.
I like it.
Um, so I was going to say something and I forgot.
Was it about Teflon?
No.
Stay on the rails, Toodle. Okay,
Okay.
right here. You
Shit.
could read it.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, I was going to say what you were saying, kind of piggyback off of it, is like, say you're running an OCD group, right? And everyone's theme is a little different in the group. And one person is like, oh man, I wish I had that type of OCD. Hold on. Now, hold on,
Hold your
right?
horses.
It doesn't bother you. That's why. So it's like it's like comparing apples and oranges, or actually apples and apples, if you really think about it,
Yep.
because they're still experiencing the same type of pain. It's just different content.
Right.
Um, but it
Right.
chooses what you like because it knows it'll get your attention. If
Yeah.
you care a lot about, the type of relationship you have and the healthy quality of your relationship, you better believe that OCD is going to sink its teeth into that. And if you're like a person who doesn't need to wash their hands and they don't care about contamination stuff, or, germs, or the fear that they're going to die if they touch something that cross transferred, OCD doesn't give a shit, doesn't care.
Right.
It's like, no, that's not the important stuff, people. The
Right.
important stuff is your relationship, actually.
Right. Which is where religious scrupulosity, right? If somebody is really focused on their relationship to God and to faith, that's where. And somebody just wrote in the feed, I have different types of OCD. That's the thing, is it likes to jump from topic to topic, and as your cares in life evolve, so does your OCD in a really just fantastic way. I mean, that's right. Like, if I had never gotten sober, I never would have had obsessions about whether or not I was still sober, right?
Yeah.
That wouldn't have been applicable. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
If I didn't have a baby that I love so much, I probably wouldn't be so stuck on her, but I might be stuck on other relationships, is my guess, or
yeah,
harm thoughts.
right,
So it's really just OCD at the end of the
yeah,
day. We're splitting hairs. It's OCD.
yep, absolutely. And just in terms of POCD too, it I think because the topic is so abhorrent to most people, this idea of like I can't accept uncertainty around that, but the reality is we're all accepting uncertainty all the time, right? Like I'm accepting the uncertainty that somebody with POCD is not accepting because I'm just not, but I'm not even thinking about it. I'm not,
Right.
if if it comes in, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a weird thought, and then I move on.
And a wise therapist once told me, we're all accepting uncertainty all the time. It just like you said, right? It just depends on what you're willing to accept in that moment. So, for example, we are all sitting on a chair. Well, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us are. Um,
Mm.
and it's possible that chair could just collapse. But if we are, like fixated on it, we're going to be really concerned and distracted, and our whole life is going to be thinking about how chairs are constructed and the sound that they make and how we know when they're going to drop and all this stuff. And most of us are just sitting in the chair, and then when it drops, if it drops, then we go, oh, okay, it dropped,
Right,
right? So
and
we're
then you deal
accepting
with
uncertainty. Yeah,
right,
accepting uncertainty in every facet except this content area.
right, because you're unwilling to allow uncertainty to be there, not because it's not there all over.
Right,
To your point,
right.
yeah. Okay, let's see. Wicked Wheel of Fate, right? That's the thing.
Is it? It sounds like a thing.
Wicked something. I don't. What's my deal? How do you deal with and handle when depression interferes with OCD treatment? Boy, oh boy, that's a good question
Great
because
question.
it almost, and
Always
not
does.
always, but
Well,
oftentimes it does. And I think the tendency to beat up on oneself, and not that this is depression, but I think that the sort of feudalistic, I'm not capable, I'm like that stuff comes up a lot in depression and OCD co-occurring with depression. I feel like there's so many ways in which the two can
and
overlap.
shame, like you're a bad person because you have these terrible thoughts, right? Like if we're having those thoughts, we're going to feel depressed. Who wouldn't, right? If you believe them
Right.
and you're
Right.
listening to them. Um, so how do we handle it? That's complex. It depends on every person's different.
Yeah.
We start going into, it's individual, right? It really is, because sometimes medication might be needed as advised by a psychiatrist, not us per se. And behavioral activation stuff, right? Like we have to do lots of getting out of the house, opposite action, getting you active physically, connecting with people you care about.
Yep. Yeah. No, that's all spot on. Um, I think the only thing I would add to that is that depression involves a lot of unkind self-talk and a lot of other types of rumination, right? We talk about rumination a lot in the context of OCD these days, but actually to sort of chew over and regurgitate and then chew some more, it's often seen in the context of depression. And so learning how to have sort of a zero tolerance policy, like I'm just not having that conversation with you, brain. Like your brain says, well, if you cared more, you would have already done your exposure homework for the day, but clearly you don't care enough because you suck, right? And it's like, oh, thank you, great, that's such a lovely thought. I have to get my exposure therapy done now, so I'm not having that conversation about how much I suck. That thank you for the thought, right? Like that's, I think really saying
Namaste.
like, namaste. I don't talk to assholes, right? Like that's zero tolerance. Just don't like. Well, it's like right, like if somebody
That
walks up to you,
is the best. Hold on, I gotta absorb that. Namaste. I don't talk to assholes. Thank you. I am going to say that for the rest of my life now. Mark
I,
it in the book, Smokey.
Smokey, it's there.
Just
No, just not. And even if that asshole is living in my own brain, because
oh, it's.
yeah,
I have to talk to your asshole all the time, and
I
you talk to
know
mine too, because
this
we don't
sounds
talk
weird.
to our assholes.
To be clear, I'm not actually talking to anybody's asshole.
We're talking about. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I did not mean for
I
it to
liked
go.
it. No,
We're talking about
why?
the bullies in our heads, right?
Correct. Yes, the unkind people that
Yeah.
that echo the echo chamber in our minds, and like yes, and we do. But we don't. You don't talk. Don't talk to that guy alone. If you're gonna
Yeah,
like,
don't do it.
no. Mm-mm.
Not
Uh,
advised.
and generally, probably not talking to him overall or her or them, whatever.
Right.
You
Or
just gotta,
it.
yeah, yeah.
Um, I would also like to say, exposure response prevention includes cognitive behavioral therapy, which ironically is the thing that, is the frontline treatment for depression.
Hmm.
So you would, track your thoughts like, hey, you're a terrible person for having this thought. And then we might think of more middle path response rather than this very extreme, you're good and bad, right?
Hmm.
So that's another key treatment form with depression.
Bingo.
And also, so everyone, is that I have to leave in a couple minutes because I have a client.
Oh yeah, what time is it? Do you
It's
have time for one more?
2:28. Yep.
Okay. Thanks for joining us, you guys. And we will be back with one of our episodes. If anyone wants to send in requests for themes, you can DM us. Um, ooh, okay. Oh, hi, Not Alone Notes. They're awesome. Check
I
them
know
out
they are.
if you haven't already. They're amazing.
Yes, totally.
Hmm. Um, how do you know it's OCD or intrusive thoughts because of anxiety, panic disorder? Well, I have thoughts. Do you have thoughts?
Yeah, we don't.
We don't.
I don't know.
And it doesn't really matter because
Mm-mm.
going back to that idea that like 76% of people with OCD have a co-occurring anxiety disorder, that tells me that it's, we're probably just categorizing things that aren't really that different. They're just different types of anxiety. That's
Right.
just one woman's opinion, but you don't need to know ultimately.
Because then you start overvaluing the thought that maybe is or isn't that, right? It's like, and it turns into a whole nother mental cycle. It's just their
Wait, say that
thoughts.
again.
I mean, if somebody, say,
Value.
like with ROCD, goes, okay, well, what's the difference between real, I don't know why I keep saying ROCD other than the fact that I said it earlier. Sorry. Anyways, um,
Good.
that they might say, like, what's OCD and what's not? And it's like, okay, if we start going down that path, then you're overvaluing way too
Right.
much on the thoughts. Like, a thought is a thought. right? It's
Yes.
just a thought. It
Right.
doesn't have, there's not one that's more important than the other.
Right. So saying like the difference between like an OCD thought versus a normal thought, it's you're still putting too much attention on the idea that some thoughts are inherently important when they're all just noise.
Yeah, they're just thoughts.
Right. And if they don't match up with rationality, then right, like if they don't match up with the facts, Sparky, like
Yes.
just saying, Smoky and Sparky, man. Um, So, with all that said, I know you've got to go. And so we appreciate you all being here. Let us know what you want to hear about. We're going to be coming back on the lives full steam ahead. Watch out
Yeah.
world, Smokey and Sparky. I don't know which one's which, frankly, but
Stay on the
just
rails.
do that.
Just whoop. Sorry, guys. I have to go, but
Go.
thank you. Yes, yes. We are
Yes.
so happy to be back.
Super happy. Thanks guys for
Okay.
joining. Bye.
Bye.